In today's video, I am asking the question of what does it mean to be wrong? You know, to be right or have to do things right versus messing up versus looking stupid or wrong. And at the end of the video, I talk about a way of approaching it slightly differently so that you can actually process and work through the idea of not looking wrong and it not even being an issue, actually. So I am AmyC with Your Finding You. I'm an intuitive and transformational coach, and I help individuals step into who they want to be in themselves, to connect with their value and worth, and to know really what it is that they want in life, and to pursue it and be it in themselves. So I want to talk about this idea of looking wrong, messing up, fears around, like what others will think, being criticized because you did something wrong. But who defines what is wrong? Like, really, when it comes down to it, we have societal rules, cultures, beliefs, different things that different cultures, believe in, or different classes, whatever you want to call it, different races. We all have slightly different ways of doing things. And so we learn them as we're growing up in our family and, the culture we're in, whatever it is. But who's to say one is right or wrong? In each case, we just possibly do things differently, but we're so afraid sometimes of, like, oh, I'm gonna do this wrong, I'll look wrong, I'll be wrong and be judged and be criticized. But I want to put this challenge forward of what does it mean and where does being wrong come from, and like what I mean by that is your thoughts. Like, you can say, oh, I messed up, I did this wrong. But maybe someone else will do it just like you did it. And yet, in your thoughts, you're like, oh no, I did that wrong. I messed up. It was, seen and judged and criticized. And so, who defines wrong or right? And I would say that really it comes from within ourselves of who is wrong or right. Like, we're the most critical of ourselves, and we're the ones judging ourselves for what we're doing, So then what are the fears behind what is right or wrong? Like, what is the fears behind it? And it's other people's criticism of us or judgments of us, and us potentially not being seen in a good light to others, not being liked, not being good enough. And when I think about this as well, I'm like, okay, in most situations I go into, and I see it a lot when I travel in myself coming up. Like, when I'm traveling, I'm like, oh, I don't know the cultural rules here in these situations. And so I get super nervous about how I'm going to look. I'll be judged, I'll be criticized. But I'm doing my best from my place of the knowing that I have. And I'm trying, to learn what the cultural rules are, to, meet people where they are, and coming from a loving and compassionate place in myself. So, like, I'm trying my best on my side, but I still might be wrong. I still might be judged or criticized. So I use this phrase of keeping my side of the street clean, which is like coming from a place of integrity, of trying my best, of coming from a loving, compassionate place, and trying to understand where other people are coming from. And when I come from that place, I'm seeing, and this is what I want to throw out there is to you guys, is that I'm seeing that coming from this place is what matters. Like, where I come from, the place that I start from within me is what actually matters, not being criticized or judged or whatever comes at me, if I come from a place of integrity and love and compassion, it's like, oh, I am doing what I can be doing. And the people outside of me, if they see these things as wrong, critical, or judgmental towards me, and that's like something from them, coming from maybe criticisms in themselves or judgments they have in themselves, and then when they see it reflected in me, like me doing something, they'll get critical and judgmental because they maybe can't allow themselves to be that way, or it's they're strict with themselves in certain ways, so they become judgmental or critical. And in a way, I'm just becoming a mirror to them of something that they don't want to see in themselves. So, going back to this question on, what is looking wrong, messing up actually mean? And it's like, well, for me, it does mean that I have a fear of being criticized and judged. And if I don't do it right, so I need to make sure that I do it right, that I do it the way that is expected among the culture, the society, the group, the family, whatever it is. And if I'm not doing it within other people's rules, then I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to progress forward. Instead of looking at other people's rules and what they expect, again, start from within me. And it's like, oh, what do I know? What can I do? Where can I start? And start from a place that's coming from compassion, love, integrity, trust. It's like, how can I come into this from a loving place? From a place that knows in myself that that's where it's coming from. Which all comes down to knowing my own worth and knowing who I am, and knowing that this is what I'm trying my best to do, in these situations. So I throw this idea out there. Figure out in yourself, what does wrong mean? Is there, fears around being criticized or judged, or, looking wrong or looking like you messed up or stupid? What does it mean? And then if you shift it to not being worried what other people are doing, and knowing what's and where it's coming from within you, of owning your own worth, owning your own integrity, honesty, trust, love, like being in it for yourself, and knowing you're coming from that loving place, knowing you're coming from that place. And then does it shift your thoughts around what does wrong mean for you? So thank you for joining me in this video. If you do like and are getting value out of these videos, do hit that like, share, and subscribe button below. And I'll see you in the next video.